This morning, I'm going to talk a little bit about a subject about it. He's one of my favorite characters to sort of look at as far as lessons on what not to do. And I think it's going to tie in very well with what we've been dealing with over the last while. We're dealing with talking about the Holy Spirit, letting the Holy Spirit come alive in your life. And last week we dealt with living the Spirit-filled life and what that is and how we need to do that. And as an under shepherd under Jesus Christ, as your spiritual leader, as your pastor, I want to encourage you not to waste the life that God desires for you to have. So this message this morning, I entitled it, Don't Strike Out. Now, by no means am I saying by this title that it's 3 strikes and you're out. I'm just saying as an individual, don't strike out in your life with God. And you know, don't mess up so much. Don't begin to think things so wrong that all of a sudden you find yourself possibly in the place of this individual we're going to talk about this morning. And the person I want to talk about is a guy named Saul. I'm not talking about the guy who became the Apostle Paul. I'm talking about the guy who became the first king of Israel. This individual that the Bible tells us about, his name is Saul. And I want to introduce him to you this morning. See, he started out right, but unfortunately, he did not end up right. He didn't end up the way that God truly desired for his life to go. So I want to look at his life this morning. Let's look and see how it started out. We first get introduced to Saul in 1 Samuel chapter 10. And I'm going to sort of go to verses 9 through 11 of this chapter. Let's just read what it says. It says, as Saul turned and started to lead, God gave him a new heart. And all Samuel's signs were fulfilled that day. See, Saul went out on a quest to find his father's lost sheep. And they were out so long that they began to worry about Saul. And Saul went to the man of God to get help. This is what his servant with him suggested. Hey, there's a man of God in this city, and the man of God that was there is Samuel. If anybody, we'll talk about Samuel some other time later on, but Samuel was the man of God there. So they went there to find out from Samuel if he could help them to find these lost sheep, this lost flock of Saul's father. And Samuel, when he sees Saul, God tells him, he says, this is the guy you're going to anoint to be the king of Israel. Because Israel's got to a point where they were tired of not being like everybody else. And they wanted a king. That's a whole other story for another time. But here it is. Saul's introduced here. And Samuel begins to share with Saul some things that are going to happen. And this is what it tells us here. It says, as Saul turned and started to lead, God gave him a new heart. And all Samuel's signs were fulfilled that day. So all of a sudden Saul knew that what Samuel was speaking to him